Yes, correct. So what does it mean by biodiversity? Anyone? It is about the importance of environmental engineering to the construction process. Yes, that's correct. Arvindran, itu je lah maksudnya. Macam kat gambar ni kan, we have lots of this nature, which is plants, and how we can make it balance in terms of our development, construction lah. So that everything can make it sustainable. Sustain maksudnya we need to preserve for a long time supaya anak cucu in our future generation can also get the benefit, lots of benefit, because this is our necessities. Okay, that's good. Itulah sebelum ringkas. And then the relationship between the built environment and nature environment kan. Okay, if you want to build something, it must be considered good nature environment, because you will build, you will need a land, you will need some materials from the environment, right? And then you need water, you need the air and everything to make it complete, So that's why it's very important to have that fundamental. Okay, next in the chapter 2, ini saya dah terangkan sedikit until mana. Okay, but these are the departments in Malaysia under jurisdictions of Malaysia's ministry that handle the environmental part, So I will go to, okay, let me ask, what does it mean by SPAN? SPAN. Ada dalam nota ni sebenarnya. SPAN. Jaswin. Jaswin ada?
Ya, doktor.
SPN tu apa? What does it mean by SPAN? What is that body, Jaswin mana? Tengah Google. Yang lain?
Tengah cari.
Tengah cari. Okay. Cari kat mana? Ya, Ahmad Hakim, Suruhanjaya Perkhidmatan Air Negara. So, what are their coverage? Dia sebenarnya menjaga apa? Ya, Jaswin kena jawab lah. SPAN ni, dia take care on what? Mana ada ni? Yang lain ada? Jawapan?
Jaga sistem river.
Jaga sistem river?
Water system.
Water system. Okay. Almost correct lah. Tapi sebenarnya dia menjaga water treatment plant. Kalau any states kan, they want to build a new loji rawatan air, LRA, dia kena minta permission daripada SPAN. Okay, okay. Thanks Jaswin. Okay. Besides water, what else that the SPAN take care of? Nizozen. Kita sebut ni.
Yes, doctor.
Besides the SPAN taking care of water, what are the other else? What other aspect that SPAN needs to monitor?
To ensure the productivity of the water supply and also the sewerage system.
Okay, correct. So water supply. Okay, so water supply means from the water treatment plant until they supply to the consumer. The second one is sewerage. Betul lah, that's correct. Sewerage tu, what does it mean by sewerage? Anyone? petang ni kena communicate dengan saya, tidak tidur Sewerage, apa maksud sewerage? Air kumbahan, yes, correct, not only air kumbahan. Tapi ada juga yang masih tak faham lagi, what does it mean by air kumbahan? Air apa tu?
Air tahi.
Air
Tahi.
tasik?
Tahi. Tahi.
Oh, tahi, okay. Air tandas tandas. So kalau hari ni bila membuang, you must think as a civil engineer, where does your waste goes now? Sebab kita akan belajar in our environmental engineering. Either as in chapter 6 kot. 6 on wastewater. Okay, that's good. Itu span After span, jadi saya rasa saya boleh baca sendiri ni. Ni span Span ni yang paling penting sebab dia jaga dua benda, water supply dengan sewerage. Jadi kena tahulah. Kita ada Suruhanjaya Perkhidmatan Air Negara ni. It's very important Okay, lepas tu ni ada some violation. Okay, ada banyak lah. Kenapa benda ni patutnya tak berlaku, tapi masih lagi berlaku disebabkan oleh sebab apa What does it? Why these things still happens? Agak-agak pasal apa? Hisham bin Hussein. Hisham ada? Saya sebenarnya hari ni tak berapa sihat Saya semua batuk tapi masih lagi negatif lah. Saya suara sengau sikit ni. Hisham?
Ada.
Kenapa masih lagi berlaku ni? Awak rasa? Dia violation Memang in Malay Apa agak-agak puncanya? Tengah mencari juga jawapan. Diayul Rashidi. Yes, betul. Tilaka, lack of enforcement of law. Yalah, lack of enforcement Diayul Rashidi bin Nordin. Ada?
Yeah.
Kenapa masih lagi berlaku ni? What does it mean? Why is this things happens? Why violation issues of standard? Kita ada standard tapi still this kind of things happening.
Sebab kekurangan bekalan air.
Jadi disebabkan itu berlaku pencurian. Water
Yeah.
Okay, jadi kurang air kena curi air. Sebenarnya kena ikut prosedur lah yang betul walaupun kurang ke apa semua, we need to deal it with the in the legal system Okay, ada berapa lagi lah. I give you some examples of the violation issues of standard and you can see the fine The fine 50,000 ringgit if the verdict is convicted and so on This is according to the water theft issue in Malaysia. Alright. Okay, next is about still with span. Okay, Department of Irrigation and Drainage yang menjaga saliran air. So usually the standard is following the Urban Stormwater Management Manual for Malaysia, MASMA 2012 So this is regarding to the more on the quantity, so that we have sufficient enough of water supply. So in terms of the river basin management, to get and store the water, water resources management hydrology, special projects, flood, eco-friendly drainage. Okay. So like I said before, we are very blessed to have lots of water, but if we didn't manage it properly in efficient way, we are actually very risky and prone to get issues on water sufficient. Yeah. Okay, in Singapore, they are very highly populated and very lack of water. I mean fresh water. So one of their management blueprint is they having lots of water reservoir. Water reservoir dia simpan air. So from the storm water, they treat the water, filter it, and then store in the lake. It's like a reservoir lah. Okay. So that this can be used like a storage or dam to store the water so that they can use for some, because now they got the supply from the Malaysia, right? But this is they are planning for in case of the water, for the water security. Okay. Okay, next is on, this is the MASMA. You can see from the website of the Urban Stormwater Management Manual for Malaysia. Okay, MASMA, and then okay, this is about the Department of National Solid Waste Management. Okay, who taking care of our rubbish, our solid waste? Siapa tahu? Kat rumah kita biasa buang kat mana Kita sampah kan? Yes, PBT So PBT is under which ministry? Betul Ahmad Hakim Majlis Daerah Perbandaran kalau dia nak taraf ke majlis perbandaran lah, ikutlah dia punya status dia. So PBT in Malaysia is under which ministry? Siapa tahu?
Environment.
Okay, not tak berapa tepat Cuba lagi, siapa yang tahu? Yang menguruskan sampah, kementerian mana? Which ministry? Siapa tahu? Tak tahu. Sekarang siapa menteri dia Dulu perempuan Zuraidah kan? Kementerian Dalam Sekitar, okay, inaccurate. Unfortunately tak apa, cuba kan, baru dah tahu. Kementerian Perumahan dan apa kan, KPKT. KPKT is what? Kajian Perumahan dan Kajian Tempatan. Kementerian Perumahan dan apa? Ya.
Kerajaan Tempatan Malaysia.
Yes, Kerajaan Tempatan, KPKT. Ya. Itulah dia, nama dia. So dia yang menguruskan solid waste yang akan handle every state ataupun kita ada daerah kan, distrik dia ada dia punya kerajaan tempatan. So kerajaan tempatan tu yang menguruskan. So macam dekat di Batu Pahat ni kita ada under Southern Waste kan. Okay. So ini dia. Okay, ini selalu if you can notice that in Malaysia starting on 1st of June 2016 we are mandatory to separate our waste. So now we are in 2022. So what is your response? Are we success or no? Your opinion? Oi, gambar makanan tu sedapnya. Ci, Yengkai. Awak tengah makan ke apa?
Tidaklah, itu gambar saja.
Dah tengah hari ni.
Oh, sorry.
Tak apa.
Saya tukarlah.
So sambil tu boleh lah ni respon. Kita dah ada since 1 June of 2016 until now. So what's happening? Do you think that we are succeed on this matter? Which is we need to what? Mandatory to separate our solid waste. Kita practice tak? Recycle?
Tak sangat lah.
Tak sangat Kenapa What are the factors?
Sebab Sebab mentaliti rakyat Malaysia tak sangat pentingkan hal-hal beginilah saya rasa.
Dia nak mudah saja, nak cepat je. So buang tu sampah.
Uh,
Yang lain?
kita pun tak disiplin sangatlah tentang hal ni.
Yes. Saya pun setujulah It takes berapa tahun lagi lah mungkin. Tapi kena ada kesedaran lah. So I believe that most of our self actually we are eager and willing to do that. Tapi itulah memang kena perlu ada some education, maybe some force, right, to make it happen. Yang lain, pendapat lain macam mana? Thanks Aci, so boleh teruskan makan. Ashraf hilang. Okay. Kevin? Kevin Chai.
Ya, Doktor.
So what do you think about this? Our legal, kan? Supposedly 1st of June. Kita berjaya tak?
Tak sangat.
Tak sangat ya. Siapa Tapi sampai bila kan? Dalam 2022 dah. So what makes maybe some drivers or driven factors that can make it more efficient ya? Apa cara yang terbaik? Nurul Fatimah? Ya, Ashraf nak cakap apa?
Pada pendapat saya, kita boleh buat menggunakan akta-akta kepada kilang ataupun syarikat. Itu saja.
Kilang memang wajib gitu. Wajib kena recycle.
Ya.
Kalau kilang wajib recycle lah, dia punya bahan-bahan sisa-sisa dia lah. Itu. Ataupun memang dia kena gunakan material yang mudah biodegrade. Wajib. Gitu ke? Okay. Saya rasa macam itulah lebih kurang. So kalau ada yang lain, you can
Tapi doktor, biasanya sekarang kalau kilang letak undang-undang pun mereka pun tak berapa kisah lah.
Betul.
Macam benda tu sudah lama since the 90s sudah buat macam tu tapi tak berapa efektif lah. Sebab umi lah macam tu.
Betul. Okay, at least dekat rumah tolonglah semua recycle ya. Macam saya pun saya sediakan kontainer untuk asingkan botol, especially botol plastik dan kertas. Okay, dulu saya rajin hantar ke kedai lah untuk kedai recycle. Tapi sekarang ni saya tengok ada macam recycler collector. Jadi saya letak depan rumah saja dia akan ambil. Jadi saya perasan rubbish collector ni dia datang masa PKP ni lah, during the pandemic kan. Mungkin tak ada kerja ke apa dan sebagainya. So saya letak dia, nanti dia akan ambil lah. Okay, tapi yang penting you kena separate. Sebabnya it's very, what we call it, they have some value in the recycle. To be used again, recycle, before we enter to the landfill. Which is we will learn this chapter on chapter 7 kalau tak silap lah, on the solid waste. Because in Malaysia we still use landfill and landfill, that means we use a land space because there are lots of abundance of our waste. Benda yang boleh recycle patut kita asingkan dulu kan, tapi semuanya kita dump everything. Itu yang menyebabkan kita punya landfill become more crowded Sepatutnya lifespan dia mungkin 20 years tapi maybe 10 years dah kena tutup. Itu rugilah pada saya ya. Okay, so we continue on this one. Okay, DOE. So this is our main kitab for environment. Based pada Department of Environment 1974, we have introduced the monitoring of the environmental legislation. Undang-undang berkaitan dengan environment dah ada dah since 1974. You all pun tak lahir lagi ya. Betul. So this one, the DOE will monitor the activities, waste, discharge, effluent involved in R&D and also disseminate the information to environment and also to the public. If you have time, you can search their website, Department of Environment, and you can see like their various activities. Ada activity in terms of doing the awareness, okay, and then how they monitor. Kalau air quality ada, dia buat real time. Untuk water tak ada, belum lagi Okay, one of the requirement for the EIA one of the requirement on this act, Environmental Quality Act, is this one. Yang ini very close to civil ya. EIA report ni. Ni ada dalam chapter 3 yang mana saya akan masukkan kejap ni ya. EIA. Pernah dengar tak EIA report? Apa fungsi dia? Siapa tahu? Yang dah baca ke? Mungkin, maybe. This is very close to civil engineering. Ada siapa yang tahu? Ataupun maybe you have involved before? I don't know. No, tak ada.
Tak ada, Doktor.
No, Syafiqah. Pernah? Have you know about EIA before? Syafiqah ada? Ada. EIA apa tu Have you involved before? Kesan-kesan material dalam sekitar. Okay, bolehlah. Right, that's good. Itu apa? Mukri. Oh, Mukri yang jawab. Okay. Dia sebenarnya macam ni The concept is before you will open or start your development project, apa-apalah construction especially for the big project, very big project. This I can explain on chapter 3. What does it mean by this requirement that the project needs to handle the EIA report. Okay, because this is under section 34A. Kalau tak buat memang kena saman lah, right? For prescribed activity, dia bukan semualah. Kalau you nak buat kilang kerepek, bakar rumah, just kecil saja, tak perlu EIA. Okay, tapi kalau misalnya dia melibatkan maybe 50 acres, hectares, ada berapa certain value dia, so you need to submit a EIA report. Bukan you submit lah, you need to appoint your EIA consultant to do the report for your project Okay, so this is the prescribed activities. Prescribed activity, no, this is not prescribed activity, but this is the prohibition and control of pollution, okay, under the Environmental Quality Act. So di Department of Environment ni kerja dia ialah dia monitor dan dia akan buat penalty lah. Dia akan saman. Okay, biasanya dia akan check on the system in the industry, dia akan check effluent discharge. Okay, ada certain kilang tu kan, kalau pelepasan tu dia ada punya limitation lah. So contohnya ammonia is very high, so they need to check what happenings in the industry system. Okay, sebab industri yang besar, they need to install the treatment system. But the thing is either the system can accommodate the variabilities ataupun high production, maybe they actually increase the production tapi dia tak upgrade the system treatment. That's the problem kan. So discharge nanti in the system air, they have lots of this ammonia for example. Then because as we know that the water, river water especially used as a water supply intake, so that's going to be a problem. So they need to protect that water, okay, because that one will be used for human consumption. Okay, these are the 39 sets of regulation and orders yang dibaca, jangan hafal, just normal saja. Okay, and then they also check on the sewage industry effluent macam saya katakan tadi lah. Industri dia check, sewage pun dia check juga. Okay, jadi sewage ni biasanya pelepasan dia after the IWK punya treatment plant. Loji kumbahan pun dia check juga and dia check. Jadi sistem dia lah So these are the parameters that they will check. Okay, ada standard A dan juga standard B. Okay, standard A ni means the location of the discharge at the upstream of the water intake. Kalau B, downstream of the water intake. Water intake tu we need to protect because the water intake we extract the water and then we process it, treat it for water supply. When I say water supply means water treated and supplied to the consumer, to the public. Maknanya yang kita dapat tap water dekat rumah lah. Itu dia. So if you have any question, you can just ask me or you can put in your chatting box ya. Okay. So here are the parameters. I think in chapter 4 we will learn on the water quality parameters. So that one is very good to have this, what we call that, very age details on the parameter. What does it mean by DOD? What does it mean by COD? Because every parameter has their indication. Apa maksud dia? Kalau tinggi maksudnya apa? Ammonia, nitrate and so on ya. Okay. And then gases, right? You all rindu tak dengan bau kilang sebelah di UTSM?
Boleh lah. Kayu tu kan doktor?
Kayu. Dia bakar kayu kan, jadi dia punya air kayu tu lah. Wangi kan? Macam bau jagung bakar.
Dia sebenarnya bakar apa doktor? Kilang tu buat apa?
Kilang tu dia prepare, dia kan habuk kayu tu untuk fiberboard kan. Jadi macam fiberboard. Saya difahamkan lah. So bila kayu tu dibakar ke, proses dia tu so ada keluarkan bau tu lah. Sekarang ni nampak gaya macam dah nak kata tak ada sebab mungkin saya duduk kat FK. Tapi duduk dalam kampus ada bau lagi tak? Ada ke KKTF ke, ada lagi bau?
Saya tak tahu lah sekarang doktor, tapi last semester kalau masa jogging memang akan terhidu lah.
Saya rasa dia mungkin lepaskan ada waktu dia lah. Malam ataupun petang ke macam tu lah. Tapi during the day macam kurang lah. Okay, ini kita akan we can also teach or learn on chapter the air quality about yang ni actually we need to be careful because something that we cannot see, right, physically. Kalau air kotor we can see, right? Okay, we can refuse, tak nak lah air kotor hari ni. Tapi udara tak boleh sebab dia invisible, right? Apa yang ada kita kenalah. Jadi sekarang ni the good thing is because of the COVID we are having a face mask, right? Tapi kena faham juga lah konsep dia, especially on the particulate matter. Dust tu, we are measuring on the particulate matter 10 micron and also 2.5 micron. Okay, this is how they do the measurement. Ini dalam campus pun kita ada buat measurement juga ya. Ada juga. Kita pun kena monitor jugalah. Di UTSM kita ada buat. Okay. Ozone and okay, schedule waste. Have you heard that before? About what does it mean by schedule waste? Apa boleh tanya ni.
Tidak doktor.
Apa maksud schedule waste? Pernah first time dengar ke?
Kalau saya first time lah.
Okay. Yang lain sama? Tan Jin Xiang? What does it mean by schedule waste? Tan Jin Xiang, tak ada?
Ya, ada.
Schedule waste tu apa?
Tak pasti ya.
Tak pasti. Okay, new term lah Yuzaimi Ben Jeffrey. Yuzaimi ada? What does it mean by schedule waste? Yuzaimi Ben Jeffrey tak ada? Schedule waste tu apa? Schedule waste management tu atas. What does it mean by schedule waste? Yes. Itu jawapan daripada Google lah. Yang guide.
Ya.
Kalau cantik je dia Google lah.
Saya pun tak faham, so saya cari ya.
So anyone, have you been to the hospital? Mestilah kan? Tak ada yang tak pernah ke hospital. Not because you are admitted, maybe because you are give some visit. Pernah kan?
Pernah.
Ada tak nampak yellow bin?
Oh ya, ada.
Okay. Okay, that one is actually one of example of schedule waste ya. Okay, daripada sistem hospital. Okay, maknanya when we use syringe, okay, some drugs, some chemicals and so on, we need to put aside. Okay, because this one we call it as a schedule waste and it must be managed in a very, nak kata tedious tak jugalah, tapi ada dia punya proper punya schedule. Okay, because yang ni tak dihantar ke landfill, we need to burn it. Okay, kena bakar dia, gunakan incinerator biasanya. Okay, pernah masuk lab masa zaman sekolah ataupun masa pre-dip laboratory yang ada chemical maybe? Sebab BOD, maybe COD kan dulu. Itu pun kalau you perasan kita akan deal with lots of the hazardous chemical. Yang itu ialah salah satu contoh of the schedule waste. Okay, so this is the regulation to manage the schedule waste, which is a hazardous waste. So a clinical, hospitals, okay, chemical waste, what else? Anything lah yang related to the hazardous waste belongs to schedule waste management, and this is fall into this category for schedule waste regulation. Okay, tapi masih lagi berlaku in Malaysia, which means kalau you perasan dekat internet ke, right, there are lots of the violations. They dump, especially Sungai Kim Kim is very tragic, where they dump this chemical waste and hazardous waste near to the river. Betul? Yang inilah yang paling banyak kesan dia 1,000 lebih yang admitted in hospital in Pasir Gudang 2019. Tak masih ingat? Ataupun maybe you duduk kat area situ?
Doktor, Pasir Gudang dekat mana? Johor ke?
Pasir Gudang di Johor Bahru. Itu bahaya Ada banyak lagi lah, so it's still very congested with industry. Ada lots of the factors kenapa pihak berkuasa pun tak ambil tindakan, right? Banyak isu. Okay, so EIA procedure, nanti yang ni saya akan ajar in chapter 3 in details. Yang ni lain tak ada apa lah, you can read yourself. Okay, so any question? Tak ada.
Tak ada doktor.
Saya dah masukkan juga chapter. Yes, so far no doktor. Okay, Bala, thanks. Chapter 3 dalam sini. Dalam author ya. Saya masuk sikit for chapter 3, maybe half. Then we will continue for next week. So after this, I can explain on your individual assignment and also group project ya. So to continue with the standard, one of the much important standard for civil is EIA. So you must understand about this concept of EIA and also the Environmental Management Plan, EMP. Ada kaitan dia ya. Okay, so for this chapter, we will learn for 6 hours lecture, right? And then we have about 8 subtopics, the importance of EIA objectives, and then importance of EIA, objective, types of EIA, we have 2 EIA guidelines, EMP, principles of EMP, their guidelines and also the environmental requirements So kalau tak faham, dia tanya terus. So this is not new the EIA, because it has been introduced since 1969 in the USA, right? Biasalah bila negara macam USA, UK or Europe, they are very well established and started the what we call it, this guideline first, then we are just follow lah. Ni macam ada silap sikit. So this actually as a preventive process, and under the NEPA of USA 1969, so they are requiring the environmental consideration for the large scale project. So large scale so kalau ada yang besar mega project, so this is very what we call that one of the major requirement that before they endorse your project, you need to provide the EIA report. Okay, so far it has been practiced in Malaysia for over 30 years, right? And because the first time they imposed in Malaysia is 1980, dah lama lah. So for this EIA report or study, they need to identify, they need to predict, evaluate and communicate information about the impacts on the environment. Okay, the keywords is impacts on the environment. So any project, they must have the impacts to the environment, and you need to mitigate. Mitigate means you need to give the mitigating measures on how you control or minimize the pollution. The risk yang tu pun kena ada of the proposed project. Maknanya in future, okay, you need to do some modelling on how this project can give what we call that some violation to water, air or maybe soil pollution. Okay, so when this happen, so what is your measurement or your method on how you need to overcome the issue? Dia bagi jugalah kaedah-kaedah dia untuk mengatasi, right, to solve the problem. So basically these are the roles and responsibility. They have this departments environment. Okay, project initiator ni maksudnya apa agak-agak? Project initiator. Devi ada? Devi Kandasamy? Devi line problem ya. Apa maksud project initiator? Boleh jawablah kat situ. dalam chatting box. Ini orang-orang yang penting untuk menghasilkan YA report. Tengah Google. Decision making. Okay. Kita cuba lagi. Auni, thanks Auni. Project initiator. Yang decision making ni biasanya ialah regulator lah di Department of Environment ya. Dia akan decide projek ni boleh on ke tak on. Macam tu. Approve or not approve. Approval authority tu pun they have their board. They have some representative from the Department of Environment. Lepas tu ada expert. Ada juga beberapa orang expert lah yang akan di-assign. Nanti kita kena bayar as a project proponent. Kalau project initiator ni apa ya? Ada jawapan lagi nampaknya. So kita cuba yang lain. Lee ZQ. Tak tahu nama siapa.
Yes, Doctor.
Project initiator tu siapa? Who is the project initiator?
The person who initiate to promote the project.
Yes, correct. Okay, betul. Dalam saya tengok dekat chatting post pun ada jawapan from the Loshini Okay, that's correct. Maknanya tauke lah ataupun the project punya apa idea lah. Idea yang nak buat project tu Basically the company lah Okay, YA consultant in Malaysia. In Malaysia we have you can actually check the list of YA consultant in the Department of Environment website. Kalau siapa you nak assign ke, mana tahu after this you are being assigned to a big project kan. Tapi project tu belum start. Right, you need to assign the EIA consultant. Just go to the DOE website and then go to the EIA consultant. They have the list. Assessor ni bukanlah yang ni consultant. Assessor ni yang menilai. Okay, and then Department of Environment will create and develop the review panel. Jadi ni semuanya under Department of Environment lah dia akan buat. Okay, Environment Related Agency, and then kalau projek itu sangat besar, very big project, super big, they need to involve and making a public punya display. Dan juga somehow they need to run the dialogue. Okay, to get the understanding to give to the must be given to the public, and also they must get the permission from the public. Ini yang sangat besar lah, projek sangat besar. Okay, somehow some of the project they are required to do the report display before they being approved in the newspaper, local newspaper. Adalah mungkin 10 kali ke in the what we call that local newspaper punya pelbagai bahasa lah, bahasa Melayu, bahasa Cina, Tamil. So yang itu kadang-kadang ada disebut sebab mereka mau getting the feedback from the public and also the approving authority is basically from the Department of Environment Okay. So the main aim is to make sure that the project plan is not giving a harm to environment. That's it, itu je. Okay. Jadi ini berlaku sebelum proses tu berjalan I mean before the project be initiated. So you need to prepare everything. Alright. Okay, ni tak ada apa. So they have two type of EIA procedure. The first is first schedule and the second one is second schedule. So yang ni you kena faham lah. You need to understand what does it mean by first schedule and what does it mean by second schedule. Okay. First schedule ni biasanya yang projek biasa, means no need to have this public display and also public comment. But the second schedule required to have both public display and also the public comments. That means the second schedule is very high impact and high risk of project to environment. Okay? Faham setakat ni? Tiba-tiba sakit tekak pula. Sekejap Okay, so far okay? Boleh ikut ya?
Okay, Doktor.
Input it. Okay, first schedule. How we are going to select, for example, our project tu, dia fall under first schedule or second schedule. So we need to check. Ni sebenarnya ada dekat dalam website juga ya, of the Department of Environment. So you need to check of your project, okay, which one is either you need to apply for the first schedule or second schedule. Okay, contohnya you have very big land. You want to make a development scheme for agriculture, right? Or you want to what you call that, sekarang ni kan ayam kurang kan, nak ternak ayam lah kat kampung kan. So dia punya tanah tu 20 hectares ataupun 22 hectares ke? So that means you need to get permission for the EIA project sebab this is a very large scale, 20 hectares untuk penternakan. Okay, covering of 20 hectares or more but much less than 500 hectares. Kalau 500 hectares and more, you need to involve more changing in types of agriculture use. Macam tu lah. Ada dia punya ni, yang ni kena betul-betul select which one is your category of your project ya. Okay, beside that, aerodrome tu apa benda? Aerodrome tu apa? Siapa tahu? Aerodrome. Aero ni untuk lapangan terbang ke? Google? Tak ada nak Google. Okay, then tanya dah kan. Yuzaimi, apa dia?
Airport.
Apa dia Adila?
A small airport or airfield.
Oh, small airport. Small airport tapi tak ada orang selalu nak bina pun airport ni kan. Biasanya dekat kerajaan lah. Okay, thank you. Right, drainage and irrigation, kalau you nak buat lah, you punya artificial lakes, right? Kan? You mungkin ada mansion betul? Rumah agam kan? You nak buat artificial lakes of 100 hectares or more, you kena buat. Kena apply juga EIA ni. Right? Fisheries, okay. So tengok dia punya ni 20 hectares tapi less than 50 hectares. Kena tahu you punya land space tu, land punya calculation ya. Forestry, logging, okay, kalau nak buat logging, apa dia punya keluasan dia. Alright. Industry, yes. Okay, if you want to have a big scale of productions in terms of chemical, dia punya combined product is 100 tons, then you need to apply for first schedule. Cement, lime, petrochemical, shipyard, land reclamation, mining, petroleum, right? Ports, power generation and transmission, blah blah blah. Okay, waste treatment and disposal. Siapa nak buat contoh macam dia nak bina, saya ni pula. Ni bukan saya cancel lah, silap tadi. Okay, eraser dia. Okay, nak buat construction or recovery. Recovery tu means that from the schedule waste, you want to get something value from the waste. Kan? So you need to have this construction, storage facility very big. Then you need to acquire for first schedule of EIA. Right, dredging tu maksudnya apa? What does it mean by dredging? Tanya you punya knowledge kat ni. Muhammad Daniel. Dredging, what does it mean by dredging? Muhammad Daniel ada?
Ada doktor.
Dredging tu apa? Example is? Tengah Google?
Ya doktor, tengah Google.
So apa dia? Google lama sekejap je. Ada yang lain yang dah Google dulu? Remove of sediment. Yes, betul lah Diana removal of sediment, mengorek. Dredging, marine sediment, marine dredging boleh juga kena pakai untuk buat port. Okay, or you want to dredge to get some sand, right, from the water. Yes, betul. Biasanya dekat pantai lah. For dredging to get the minerals, dredging to get the sand, dredging to get the soil, whatever lah, kerja-kerja pengorekan. Okay, so term-term ni as a civil you need to know because this is a public punya activities, right? Housing of course, tapi yang 50 hectares or more lah. Tapi kalau you nak buat just 10 10 houses Impact Raja for rental purpose for UTHM students, taklah, tak adalah you need to get this EIA full schedule, no. Yang covering the area of 50 hectares or more, tu you have to. Quarry, road, water supply pun must supply for 4,500 cubic meter or more per day. Maknanya big scale of project. Okay. Okay. Dan for the first schedule, faham tak first schedule tu apa? Boleh bezakan Ada soalan tak setakat ni? Ini ada question? No, so far so good. Siti Atika, any question?
Okay, dok.
So far so good. Tak ada apa-apa.
Good. Okay, that's good. Alright, so next is about the second schedule. Alright, second schedule ni, ini tadi kata big project, ini super big project, because it must be covering for 500 hectares and more of this land required. Contohnya for agriculture, you need to have a new pig farming area 2,000 and more, so you need to have this second schedule. So this can give a very high impact to the environment. Aerodrome pula mesti dia punya runway dia 1,000 meter or longer, and then donation irrigation for 50 hectares or more, semua more 50 hectares for fisheries, forestry, you want to convert the forest at 300 meters or more, logging, tengoklah dia punya ni dah, dia punya what we call the coverage or land space that they are required for having the second schedule. So this is a very big project. So for the certain conglomerates, okay, and also the big company yang can handle this kind of project lah. Alright, then basically they need to get the permission from the government. It's either from the state government or the persekutuan, Industries, okay, producing 50 tons product or more per day, cements, iron and steel, and so on. Okay, land reclamation, mining, petroleum, ports, you want to construct a new port, right? Then you need to have your second schedule. But port ni kita tahu they have going to have a very good, not very good, I mean diversity of this ecosystem for the aquatic. So it's very important to have this very good report on second schedule, quite detail lah, right? Power generation and transmission, and then you want to have a tourist facility, and then you need to get the second schedule. Okay, di mana kedudukan ni dia letak di national park, very, very sensitive to, because this is like our heart, okay, our lung in Malaysia or for us to survive. So any project, any development, you need to get permission and you need to apply for second schedule if you want to conduct or develop a tourist facilities in this area, because this area is being gazetted as a, so for example, any as a national marine park or any or under reserve of the Fisheries Act. Okay, developments in slope area, waste treatment disposal, construction of dams, transportation. If you want to build a radioactive material like in liners in Kuantan, Pahang, it's a big project to fall under second schedule juga ya. Okay. So this is the flowchart of the what we call the for the first schedule. I think this is for first schedule. How is the process? So first of all, we need to have this environmental screening of the project concept. Okay. Site selection, project option, scoping and of the significant issue. Yang ni maknanya you need to study and identify for this project what kind of the environmental aspect that could be one of the or not one that can give a high risk to the environment. So next is the pre-feasibility. So you need to do the assessment, identification and mitigation needed means the methods on how you can reduce the impact. Also, you need to include the cost and benefit analysis of this method. Okay, mitigation method. Mitigation method means what is your solution or method on how you can minimize the environmental impact. Okay, for example, you use certain technology, you use certain modeling, okay, to predict and so on. Or you need to have the monitoring system to avoid something bad will happen to your environment. Okay, and then you need to include the design and mitigation measures as a preparation of the environmental management plan. You need to implement the mitigation measures and management plan. That's why in this chapter you also need to learn about the EMP. EMP means after the project approved, then you need to run your environmental monitoring plan in order for you to make sure that everything's on track and doesn't give any risk to the environment. Okay. And then you need to monitor and do the evaluation for the project. Also for the future planning. Okay, so these are the EIA guidelines. So there are 3 main stages for the EIA report preparation. Okay, first of all, you need to do your pre-EIA report submission. Okay, during, what does it mean? Which report that you need to submit, and for the post-EIA, what kind of report that you need to submit. So failure of doing so means that your project will not be granted, or maybe you will face rejection. So these are the process of the submission stage, right? Okay, screening means, tadi saya dah kata, that means you need to have this project proponent or qualified person. Maknanya you need to appoint eligible EIA auditor yang betul lah. Maksudnya dia memang betul-betul qualified EIA consultant that can carry out the screening process. Okay, and then the screening process mean they need to compile all of these environmental parameters so that it can be and then determine whether this project is fall under prescribed activity of EIA. Ini penting lah, because you want to know is either your project is required to submit a EIA or not. If yes, first schedule or second schedule. Okay, depends on the size of your project. Okay. Itu screening, maknanya first kali kena screen lah. Okay, so you have this project initiator or project developer, he intends to do the project on the development or residential area of 100 hectares, for example. So it requires for which schedule? Schedule A or Schedule B? So what is the process? Okay. Scoping and terms of reference. Okay, this is very important because you need to identify the impacts of the specific project on the environment. Okay, what are the impacts to the water? Okay, so how about you handle the wastewater in the system? Right. So the wastewater, are they having this wastewater treatment plant before discharge into the river? Okay, how about the air quality? Is your project can give a disturbance to the air quality and also the noise? Semua faktor you need to make a list and then see the impacts to the environment. So that in here, they need to prepare environmental scoping information to propose the terms of reference for the EIA. So first of all, you need to prepare a terms of reference form. Okay. After that, the EIA consultant shall perform a site suitability assessment by comparing the proposed project with the approved development. Okay, sebenarnya saya ada beberapa contoh report, but that one is very old. Tapi mungkin ada, I mean there are some certain criteria you can have a look. I will show you later on what does it look like EIA report. Because when I search in the current DOE website, they are no longer having the what we call that open access. Tak boleh. Dulu boleh sebab saya copy a few documents in 2014 maybe 14-15 masa saya simpan lah in the folder, because when I taught the environmental management for my master students, usually I will go through, okay, this is examples of the EIA report, okay, from the consultant on how they apply. But years ago they use a different terms. They use a preliminary EIA and also detailed EIA. Now they change the terms using the first schedule and second schedule. Itulah. Okay. Ada soalan tak setakat ni? Saya tengok sekarang. Ada baseline condition sebenarnya ada dalam, I mean in the report, and then methodology, impact assessment and specification, submission and EIA review process, So ni pre-EIA, that ada particulars that you need to prepare and something that you should know before you proceed to the EIA submission stage. Okay, the most important thing is physical activity of first schedule need to submit to the DOE state offices. If your project will be held for example in Batu Pahat, that means you need to send to the DOE in Johor Bahru lah as a state officer. Kalau di Sibu contoh di Sarawak lah, tapi sebenarnya EIA kalau di Sabah Sarawak dia lain sebab dia even though that's a big project, the state of state government yang handle sebab dia ada dia punya enactment maknanya tanah ke maknanya hutan dan sebagainya tu memang under state government lah, not under persekutuan. So the state government is the one who will decide all the project in Sabah and Sarawak. Tapi kalau di Semenanjung masih lagi terikat pada that means for the big project kita kena refer juga kepada persekutuan certain lah, maksudnya yang second schedule yang sangat besar. Alright. Okay, kalau after you submit everything, then the process is either first schedule or second schedule, then After you get approval, okay, that's it. So after the EIA approve, then you need to submit your EMP plan. Okay, so this one is more on the execution, action ya, yang kena buat lah. Apa yang you katakan dalam report tu you kena buat. This what dia will monitor. Kena habis ni. Yang lain ni lebih kepada itulah administratif. So kalau macam tu saya tunjukkan examples of the report lah yang saya ada ya, no question. Okay. Tapi nak kena cari dulu. Saya tutup sekejap. So far faham
Ya, okey doktor.
Tidur okay. Sambil makan boleh sambil tengok lah lecture. Siapa Muayyad Mansur.
Yes, Dr. Yes.
So do you understand?
Yeah.
About EIA? So what does it mean by first schedule, Muayyad? First schedule of EIA. Anyone can help Muayyad? No public display. Yes, correct ya Ahmad Hakim. Itu je lah beza dia kan. No public display. Okay, yeah, still it is a big project, but you need to check the prescribed activities on the, is either in the website of DOE or in the slides in the notes, to know which one of the project fall into which category, first schedule or second schedule, because they are very much different. Second schedule is very big project. That means you need to have a requirement for you to do the public display. Okay. Example. Okay, I show you now examples of the report. Not 2014, tapi saya dapat since 2011. 20 tahun dah ni. 11 kan? Okay, this is examples of the preliminary employment impact assessment EIA executive summary from this company. Company pun dah approve dah ni kan? Alright, examples of the EIA application or EIA report. For this company, that the company proposed to have this production of sulfuric acid. Preliminary means that long time ago is for first schedule. Kan mistaken Kena tengok dia punya prescribed activity. 2011. So, okay, this is for Malay. So, you need to have this pengenalan, introduction of the project. So, this is the EIA consultant. They ask this Dio Eco Techno as a consultant, EIA consultant Nampak tak ni? Kecil So, here is the process. You need to explain the process of the production for this acid sulfuric. Okay, the locations of this project, proposed location, and then this is the current environmental site. Okay, hydrology and this drainage, and then the land use, the water quality, Okay, so that means the EIA consultant needs to have some testing at the site. Okay, so that they can predict lah in future what will be. Okay, sekarang ni environmental quality is okay, moderate ke very good. So if this project will be takes place after this, so what will be happen? What's the risk? Quality of the effluent terawat, air quality, noise and ecology. What in English? Okay, ada. Ni dia. Alright. Sama je, but this is in English. Assessment. So their assessment is more on this is the impact on the water quality, air quality, noise, and then the traffic. And they need to also to provide the quantitative risk assessment and environmental management plan and then conclusion. So this is very important, yeah, for them to provide this recommended mitigating measures. Apa maksudnya? Ialah, okay, potentially that this project can give leakage, for example in terms of water quality. Ada risiko lah, risk to the spillage and also the leakage of the liquid material. So what is your solution to overcome this risk? This is what we call the mitigating measures. Bagilah cadangan dia, apa dia. Okay, so these are very important for the project initiator, okay, with the help of the EIA consultant to list of these what we call that solutions, measures ataupun method. Macam mana cara nak selesaikan kalau dia berlaku. If these things happen in future, ada berlaku some leaking industrial effluent discharge, right, and so on. Okay, in terms of air quality, there will be a risk of acid gas or sulfuric acid mist from the production. So what we should do when these things happen? So we need to have this regular maintenance of scrubber, blah blah blah. Okay, how about the noise pollution? Kalau ni berlaku, so apa kita kena buat? Kenalah buat sesuatu. So this must be listed in the mitigating measures. Faham Jadi kita tahulah, okay, kalau berlaku, if this happens, so this is the thing that we should do, the SOP to overcome this environmental pollution. And then schedule waste could be come from this panic catalyst. Then this is the measures that we need to undertake. Benda ni, masa kita buat ni, projek ni tak jalan lagi. So that means during the application, the project is not be approved yet. But you need to give a report on how you can overcome if these situations occurred in future. During your production running, there's some violation of to the environment, impact to the environment. Which is very important for us, because we know that environment is very important. Okay, that's why you need to list everything. And this one must be approved by the Department of Environment. Like SOP lah, sekarang kan suka SOP kan. Macam tu. Okay, then apa lagi ni? Contohnya ialah nak buat, okay, this is a residential area in Pulai. Kalau the project in Pulai, Johor Bahru, the project proponent is Iskandar Coast, the EIA consultant is a project UEP as a EIA consultant. So location you must provide. Okay, and this is the project site. And then you need to provide the existing environment. Jadi kena ada. And then the project concept. So you want to, for this development comprise of this acres of land, and we develop ambitious and exclusive housing and commercial area in along the shores of Sungai Dara. Ini dah berlaku lah, dah ada dah. So what are the potential impacts and mitigation? So you need to list phase apa yang berlaku, and then during the development. So you need to highlight or list what are the environmental impacts in terms of geological and soil works. Okay, from the earthwork activity will disturb the soil, blah blah blah. Water, air and noise soil will be disturbed or will be cause some erosion, for example. And then because of the construction works can give issues on the water quality. Vehicles such as truck, lorries will emit a pollution to the air. So you need to list everything, right? The environmental impacts. And then mana tu punya project mitigation dia lagi. Katanya kena ada ataupun dia dah tulis kat situ. Oh, dia tulis kat sini. Katanya kena ada lah, mitigating measures tu kena ada. So you need to have this measurement on how you can minimize the impact. Okay? Any question?
Tak ada doktor.
Okay, kalau tak ada,
Tak, doktor, saya ada satu soalan.
boleh.
Yang report ini biasanya siapa yang buat lah, macam orang company punya siapa yang buat?
Ni lah, EIA consultant biasanya buat. Macam ni daripada EIA consultant dia ialah kuning UAP lah, dilantik.
So consultant tu mesti environmental punya firm lah, bukan
Yes.
boleh civil engineer lah.
Civil engineer boleh. Banyak student saya, I mean, she is from the civil engineering background, even my PSM student. Lepas tu dia ambil lah course, and then ada dia punya evaluation test dan sebagainya from the DOE. Dia attending a course lah, competency course. Then adalah dia punya requirement dia, and then after I think after 5 or 6 years dia dah involved in several BIA project, then she is verified as a EIA consultant. Bila verified tu, you can check the verified EIA consultant tu dekat DOE website.
So consultant tu macam officer lah, macam tu untuk tolong check kan.
Yeah, that's correct, officer lah. Kita banyak lah EIA consultant
Doktor boleh tanya lah, gaji tinggi ke kalau jadi macam tu?
Saya tak pasti pula. Depends pada projek lah saya rasa. Tinggi juga, tapi dia punya accountability pun tinggi juga lah saya rasa ni. Especially project kan, kalau you claim ada risk dan semuanya, you need to provide the mitigating measures. Kalau in future happens, and then they will ask lah, oh actually doing this what we call that, report siapa yang lulus kan. Kalau boleh, make sure that everything must be in order. Okay ada lagi lah few kat sini boleh tengok. Nanti mungkin saya boleh masukkan dekat dalam author lah as example. You can have a look. But this one is from the years back 2011. Saya simpan lah masa tu. Kebetulan saya boleh access from the DOE website. Sekarang tak boleh. Just untuk education lah untuk teaching. Okay, then can you please make some revision for the chapter 1 and 2 so that I can give a very simple and brief quiz online to cover chapter 1 and 2. Simple je, klik-klik je. Is it okay after this? Boleh
Okay.
Just baca-baca sikit lah. Semua masih ada? Can we do the online quiz now? Belum datang. Boleh kita buat online quiz. Our first quiz for chapter 1 and 2.
Quiz tu kak, mana doktor author kak?
Nak cari dia ni. Saya bagi dekat ni link sini lah. Only 10 questions for chapter 1 and 2. Atau saya bagi dekat WhatsApp group boleh?
Boleh doktor?
Sekejap